Oh look, it's Casper. So let's see what questions we have only on Paranormal, True or False. It is free to subscribe. Please subscribe. It really helps the channel out. Thank you. Who or what busted these bottles? As this gentleman is sweeping behind the bar, and so far I'm not impressed with his sweeping, but all of a sudden, bottles on the left will fly out of the shelf and onto the floor. Who or what caused these bottles to fall? If it was any type of vibration in the building, the security camera would move, but also more bottles would fall. So I know that these shelves are designed at an angle to prevent exactly this. So the back of the shelf is lower than the front of the shelf. But the way that they fly out of here, it's almost like someone shoved them from behind. If they used a string, they would have had to use 3 or 4 different strings and then yank those strings really hard to produce this type of effect. But here is my final decision. If those bottles were the cheapest bottles of wine that they have, then this is staged. If it was the most expensive or top shelf, then ouch. This ghost hates them. Is this a ghost stalking this hospital? When they look at the safety mirror towards the ceiling, they suddenly see something in that mirror. Someone is in that hallway to the left. For whatever reason, they're not expecting to see anybody there. The person in the center there is the person with the camera. I think all hospitals have this type of mirror, and that's to prevent collisions when people are rushing to, code blues and things of that nature. It just prevents injuries, or is intended to prevent injuries. But it looks like they went down this hallway and they don't see anybody. So apparently they're confused, but then they look up there again and there's somebody there. So is this a ghost? We finally get a view of this thing that looks like a grasshopper. Very large grasshopper. But it could be just a human being bent backwards walking on their hands in a contortionist move. If it is an alien, a cryptid, a ghost, I wonder if they would like the hospital food. It's Casper! We will suddenly see this white blob right in front of the camera. The footage is really blurry and it's difficult to make out what this thing is, but it definitely can move fast. So if you've been watching any of my videos, you probably know exactly where I'm going to go with this, and that is most likely a bug on the lens. However, I have always wondered where Casper lives when he's not being a TV star. What is this creature? Over the right shoulder of this lady, we could see something walking towards her. It appears like it's long and skinny. It's a solid mass because it is casting a shadow off to its right side, or its left side. Just like that post it just walked by. It doesn't look like it's wearing any clothes. It is definitely too skinny to be human. But I have to wonder Is this simply just a computer glitch on the camera where it's not picking up all the pixels of a live human being? Remember, it's only been the past decade where cameras were able to focus on foreground and background. In the past, when everything was focused on the foreground, nothing would be picked up but a blur in the background. Or if you focused in the background, then the foreground was blurry. Well, this skinny stick figure is definitely something that we can't figure out exactly what it is, but it won't be skinny for very long once it eats her. That should definitely put the weight on. Somebody needs to tell her to start running. Is this a poltergeist? On the right side of the screen, we see that door close. Who or what closed it? Even after it's closed, we see it jiggle. Then we see an odd light anomaly, and then the door opens back up. Then the door closes again, and we have some type of bug that flew in front of the screen. I wanted to get a closer look at this light anomaly to try and figure out what it might be. It looks so distorted that I don't think it's a flashlight. It's not a bug on the lens, because it's on the other side of the door. Not sure what that light anomaly is. I know the door can be opened and closed using the string, and the string can even cause that jiggling effect. So if this is caused by a ghost, we'll just pretend like it is. Why would the ghost be opening and closing this door in the wee hours of the morning to get somebody's attention? This specific door. There's nobody sleeping in this room. Why wouldn't this ghost bang on the bedroom door? Because if they want attention, I'm pretty sure they would know to open and close the bedroom door where people are actually at. So if this is a ghost and they're using this door, that pretty much tells me they are just so freaking bored and know that they're going to be bored for all of eternity. That thought would make me rattle change too. What is this unexplained mist or vapor? Behind this lady suddenly a smoke or a mist will appear. What the heck is that? Even pareidolia makes me see a mouth and two eyes. Is this a camera artifact? Is this a computer graphic or video effect? This one is truly intriguing because it's not really acting like smoke, it's not acting like mist or a fog. We know it can't be cold enough in that room for it to be human breath just because of how she's dressed. We also see that there's a lot of antiques in that room. I really like this one. I'm going to say this is real. Is this another poltergeist? So while this person is sleeping, the door on the left will open. And the opening of that door did not wake up the sleeper. And then the door slowly closes. But then the object on the floor right in between the two doors starts moving towards the bed. And still, even with moving that object, the people in bed stir a little bit, but they don't fully wake up. So they move that bin again, closer to the bed. Now that object that is moving, it's on wheels, so that's why it's sliding so easily. So that object will continue to roll. I don't know if it's a clothes hamper or a trash can. I think it's a clothes hamper. We also have an object on the fireplace mantle that falls on the floor just as that bin hits the bed. Now that causes the person furthest from the bin to wake up, but the one closest to the bin doesn't wake up based on how the legs are moving. Now because everything is moving towards the bed, that can easily be a string that opened the door, moved that bin, moved that piece of paper, I think, that was on the mantle. And I will applaud this ghost for at least being in the room where the people are when they're making all their noise. But is this just a perverted ghost that wants to wake them up so it can watch them have sex again? The dating page app for this ghost is Lonely for Eternity. Is this ghost trying to ride these bicycles? On the right side of the screen, we see this orangish orb that is just hovering over these bicycles. What is this thing? Is it a ghost trying to ride these bicycles? Is this the head of Sasquatch? So we know that the camera is being pointed out through a screen door. And if you're just looking out there with your naked eyes, you may or may not see the bug that is on the screen door. But I do think this is a bug, not a ghost orb. But if it was a ghost, did they steal bicycles when they were alive? And is that what they're trying to do now? The only thing they knew what to do when they were alive? Or do they just love the wind in their hair? Who broke this statue? The statue or figurine closest to us starts sliding along that countertop before it finally falls to the floor and breaks. Who or what moved it? Did somebody use a string? Or did a ghost hate that thing? This feels to me like a lover's spat, in which one of the two people hated that statue and they decided to blame it on the dog eating their homework or the ghost doing a poltergeist thing. But if it is a ghost that's doing this, man, they must have hated that figurine. I personally don't like the bigger one on the other side. That's the one I would have broken if I was a ghost. I wish we could see these figurines better, because I feel like even in death, bald guys are getting picked on. But I can't tell if that's a hat or just lack of hair. What is spooking this dog? What is that thing that peeked around the corner and scared this dog? I'm not sure what caused the woman to jump, but the dog is fixated on that spot right there where it looks like a head that pops out. It seems to me that the dog heard something in that room, was looking. Once they saw, oh, I know that person, they just kind of settled down and laid back down. I love the dog's message to this person of, we played this game before. I am so over it. I'm out. Peace. Is this a Sasquatch? This is actually a stationary camera that is actually pointed towards a bird's nest. It is very high up in a tree, and that's why it's moving, because the bird's nest is right there on the left side. Zoomed in so we can focus on this dark figure that's wandering around. Is it Sasquatch? Or is it a person in a costume? It does seem a little odd to me that this thing is walking around underneath that camera. I feel like whatever bird expert that put this camera up in this tree to monitor this nest decided to prank all of us, put on a Sasquatch costume, and just walk around under the bird's nest for the purpose of getting caught on camera. Because the mere fact that it stopped right there where it would be fully visible by the camera, that just tells me that this is staged. Because if that thing was hungry, it would climb that tree and eat those eggs. We can tell by the lack of leaves on the trees in the area that this is in the winter months where food is harder to get in the wilderness. So, yeah, it would totally just climb that tree, grab those eggs, and have itself a meal. If it was a real Sasquatch. And this nest is large enough to be seen by the ground, which is why someone knew to put a camera there. This is pretty aggressive. There's a child playing on the floor when that door opens and that toy gets kicked. The camera operator drops the camera. In that first clip that you saw the door open and the toy flying, I did slow it down by 50%. Now it's being slowed down even more. The last time that I showed this to you, you'll see how quickly this all happened. That's why I called it very aggressive, because that door snaps open and that toy gets kicked immediately. So is this a case of a ghost that hates children? So is this a ghost that hates children and toys? I think that there might have been somebody in the closet that kicked the door open, but we can't see that foot or leg because of the toy blocking that area. And then a string is being used to pull that toy upside down. And again, the reason why I think this is staged is because the child who should have been the focus in this footage was not center frame. I like that they dropped the camera for effect, but I think it's staged. If you agree or disagree with my analysis, please leave a comment below. You will find links to social media platforms for this channel as well as for Jim Riley in the description below. Be safe and don't investigate alone. If you appreciate this type of analytical analysis, please subscribe. And remember, question everything. Thanks for watching Paranormal, True or False.